Once he signs the house over, we'll have everything. The new life starts, without him. That was the first thing I heard. Claire's voice. Clear. Sharp. Confident. Coming from my phone speaker like a dagger through my spine. I didn't call her. I didn't tap into some hidden device. It was a glitch. My phone had auto-connected to her car's Bluetooth when she pulled into the driveway. I was in the garage, reaching for a wrench. Just another boring Sunday chore. And suddenly, I was listening to my wife and my best friend, Jake, planning how to rip my life apart. I told you, babe, she giggled, he's so gullible. By the time he realizes what's happening, the paperwork will be done. Then Jake added with a smug laugh, and we'll be sipping wine in Miami while he's crying in his empty house. I stood there like stone. Time slowed. My chest was pounding so loud I almost didn't hear the rest. We'll say it was mutual. That he just drifted away. You play the sad wife, I'll stay out of sight. Simple. They laughed. God, they laughed. And that's when everything inside me changed. Not broken, no. I didn't fall to the floor in tears like they probably imagined I would. I smiled. It was cold. Calculated. Because in that moment, I knew I was done playing the fool. I walked into the kitchen like nothing had happened. Claire had just walked in from yoga. Her hair was still damp, skin glowing. Hey, babe, she said, giving me that kiss on the cheek routine. Coffee's fresh. Thanks, I replied, calm as hell. My hands were steady. My voice had no shake. But my mind was already rewiring everything. The next 48 hours were a blur of fake smiles and subtle moves. I copied her messages. Transferred half our joint savings. Made an emergency meeting with my lawyer. By Monday, I had legal control of the house. By Tuesday, she couldn't access a single account. And by Wednesday morning, she was calling me 42 times, back to back. Panicking. Because I was gone. And so was everything she thought she was stealing. She wanted betrayal. She just taught the wrong man how to play dirty. And the best part? She never saw it coming. No dramatic confrontation. No yelling match. I didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. She walked into betrayal laughing. She's about to walk out begging. I gave Claire 17 years. Loyalty. Support. Love. She gave me lies, manipulation, and betrayal served with a side of arrogance. She thought I was weak. But weakness doesn't plan revenge like this. By the time she realized I was no longer at her mercy, I was already 6 steps ahead. She thought she was building a new life. What she didn't realize is, I just burned down her old one. She woke up thinking she still had the upper hand. Claire probably stretched, smiled to herself, maybe even sent Jake a flirty little, morning, babe face blowing a kiss, text while sipping her smoothie. Meanwhile, I was sitting in my lawyer's office, signing documents that made every piece of her little dream world collapse in silence. You see, I didn't just disappear. I vanished strategically. I left no note, no message, no dramatic farewell. She didn't deserve closure. She deserved confusion. Panic. The same blindside she served me, but multiplied. That morning, she started with 1 missed call. Then 2. Then 10. By the time she hit 42, I imagined her pacing barefoot through the kitchen, checking the Wi-Fi, rebooting her phone, wondering why her credit cards weren't working and her bank app wouldn't open. I watched it all unfold from a hotel room 20 minutes away, sipping black coffee like it was the finest wine. I wasn't hiding, I was watching her life unravel like a badly tied ribbon. But let's rewind a bit. After hearing her betrayal on the Bluetooth, I spent the next few days pretending. That was the hardest part. Smiling through meals, touching her hand, pretending not to notice her phone face down every time Jake texted. She must have thought she was so slick. She even made a show of being extra affectionate. Cooked dinner. Asked if I wanted to reconnect this weekend. Said she missed us. The performance was Oscar-worthy, really. But behind those sweet words, I saw the cracks, little details only a fool in love would miss. I wasn't that fool anymore. She wore new lingerie. Not for me. Her perfume was different. She started saying "babe" more often, like overcompensating for the guilt that hadn't quite caught up to her yet. And when she mentioned maybe taking a girls' trip to Miami, I wanted to laugh in her face. That's when I made my move. I met with an emergency attorney. Told him everything. Played him the recording. He didn't even blink, just asked how fast I wanted to act. I gave him a deadline, 3 days. We froze the accounts. Transferred my paycheck to a new solo account. Transferred the house title temporarily out of reach. Locked her out of the mortgage app. Cancelled her credit cards. Disabled her gas card. And filed a motion to initiate asset protection, citing fraud and infidelity. The look on his face when he asked, "Do you want her served now or after she breaks down?" was priceless. After, I said. I want her to realize she's lost before she sees the paperwork. And that's exactly what happened. I shut off the GPS on my car and left it at the airport. I Ubered to a boutique hotel on the edge of the city, somewhere quiet, with a good view and no reminders of her. When the 40-second call buzzed and the text came in saying, "Where are you? Call me now." I smiled. Because this wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was about power. Claire wasn't crying because she lost me. She was crying because she lost control. For 17 years, she played the role of loving wife while I worked 2 jobs, skipped trips, sacrificed weekends. She got pedicures while I managed mortgage payments. She threw dinner parties while I stayed late at work. And the whole time, she was building a side plan. A future without me. She thought I'd keep being the provider while she played house with Jake on the side. She thought she could blindside me. But now? Now she's the one left in the dark. Claire was mid-meltdown when I finally picked up her call. "Where the hell are you, Ryan? What's going on? Why are my cards declined?" Her voice cracked, teetering between panic and fury. Gone was the calm, seductive tone she used with Jake. Now, she sounded like someone watching their empire crumble. I let the silence sit for a few seconds before answering. "Check the paperwork on the kitchen table," I said calmly. "It explains everything." "What are you talking about? What paperwork?" Click. I hung up. It wasn't about being cruel, it was about letting reality hit her in waves. No explanation could do justice to the betrayal she thought she got away with. I needed her to read it. To absorb it. To realize I wasn't bluffing. Inside that manila envelope was a copy of the recorded Bluetooth conversation, a preliminary divorce filing, and a full breakdown of our frozen assets. Every number she could no longer touch. Every account that no longer bore her name. Every lie she whispered now staring her in the face in black and white. By the time I arrived at the house an hour later, she was sitting on the floor, surrounded by torn papers, mascara smeared, and that fake confidence finally gone. You're being dramatic," she stammered, standing up quickly, rage flickering in her eyes. "This is insane. You're really going to ruin our marriage over a misunderstanding?" I almost laughed. "A misunderstanding? You and Jake planning a new life without me is a misunderstanding?" She hesitated. "I didn't mean it like that. It was just talk." "Talk?" I pulled out my phone, played back the recording. Her voice echoed again, mocking me, "Once he signs the house over." She lunged at me, trying to snatch the phone, like that would erase the truth. I stepped back. "Stop. Don't touch me." That's when her face changed. From scared to scornful. "Fine. You wanna act like a victim? Go ahead. But don't forget, you're the one who left. You abandoned me. You're walking away." That was the moment I truly saw her. Not the woman I married. Not the girl I fell in love with back in college. Just a hollow, manipulative shell, built on entitlement and lies. And now, exposed for exactly what she was. I didn't walk away, I said. You pushed me out years ago. You just never thought I'd notice. Her defenses crumbled. You don't get to make yourself the hero. You're just bitter because someone else made me feel wanted. There it was. The raw truth. No more pretending. You made a choice, Claire, I said, keeping my voice cold. And now you get to live with the consequences. She scoffed, tried to gather some remaining dignity. Jake will take care of me. I don't need you. I raised an eyebrow. You might want to check in with Jake. I sent him the same audio. And the copy of our conversation. Let's see how eager he is to start that new life with you when his name's in a legal deposition. That shut her up. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need revenge through fists or flames. The truth was my weapon, and she handed it to me on a silver platter. Claire tried to rebuild the illusion one more time. Can't we fix this? We've been together so long. I messed up. But we can go to therapy, right? Just think about it. I looked her dead in the eyes. I did think about it. Every hour since I heard your voice in that car. And the only thing I've thought about is how I stayed loyal to someone who laughed about destroying me. Her tears meant nothing now. The betrayal wasn't a moment, it was a slow, calculated burn. And now, the fire was finally out. I stood at the doorway, watching Claire break down. Her voice, once dripping with superiority and fake sweetness, now sounded small, desperate, even. Ryan, please, she begged, her voice cracking. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I wasn't going to leave you, I swear. It was just a stupid fantasy. You don't understand how lonely I felt. Oh, she was good. Now she was playing the lonely wife card. The woman who never felt seen. The same woman who laughed with another man about taking my house, my money, and my dignity behind my back. I walked past her without another word, heading straight to the closet. I didn't need a suitcase, I had already packed the essentials at the hotel. What I wanted now was proof. Evidence. I opened the drawer where we kept our shared files. Bank statements, medical records, travel bookings. And there it was. 2 first-class tickets to Miami. Booked under Claire Ann. Jacob Reed. Jake. Not even trying to hide it. They were supposed to fly out next week, 2 days after I was meant to sign the house papers. Claire crept into the room behind me like a shadow. I was going to cancel that, she mumbled. I didn't know how to tell you. You knew exactly how, I snapped. You just didn't care. I turned to her, holding the tickets out. Was this part of the fantasy, too? Or were you going to send me a postcard from your beachfront suite? She couldn't answer. She just stared at the ground like a child caught stealing. I gave you everything, Claire, I said, my voice steady, but filled with more weight than I'd ever spoken with. When your mother got sick, I took care of her. When you wanted to quit your job to find yourself, I supported you. When your dad called you a disappointment, I defended you. I stood by you for 17 damn years. And you repay that with betrayal? Now the tears came. Not the guilt-ridden kind. No. These were survival tears. The I'm losing my safety net kind. Ryan, we have history. Please. We can fix this. Let's go away for a bit. Talk it through. Maybe couples therapy. No, I cut her off. No more therapy. No more lies. No more you. She dropped to the bed, holding her face in her hands. So what, that's it? You just walk away after everything we've been through? Yes, I said, grabbing the tickets and tearing them in half. Because the only thing worse than being betrayed is staying with someone who thinks I'm stupid enough to forgive it. She didn't chase me out the door. She didn't scream. She just sat there, crumbling under the weight of everything she thought she controlled. And for once, she had no plan, no backup, no Jake to lean on. Because I'd sent him the audio files, the screenshots, the paper trail. I knew Jake better than she did. He was a snake, but not one that liked exposure. He ghosted her before she could even reach out. That night, I walked out with just the clothes on my back, my documents in a folder, and a fire inside me that burned hotter than her betrayal. I didn't go to a bar. I didn't sit in a car crying to sad music. I went to the hotel, poured myself a glass of water, and slept like a man who finally stopped bleeding. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt earned. And Claire? She was finally forced to sit in the mess she made. Alone. By morning, Claire's desperation reached full tilt. 12 text messages. 3 voicemails. 1 pathetic email titled, "Please just talk to me." I didn't open a single one. Because something better came through my inbox, an email from Jake. Subject line, "Didn't know it was like that." He wrote. "Ryan. I know you probably hate me. I get it. I screwed up. I didn't know Claire was serious about leaving you, I thought it was just fun. I never wanted it to go this far. Please don't bring this to court. Let's talk. Man to man. Man to man." Jake was the same guy who toasted me at my wedding, who held my shoulder after my dad's funeral, who once called Claire like a sister. Now he wanted a civil conversation. Nah. I hit forward. Sent it to my lawyer. No reply to Jake. That coward didn't deserve words. Just consequences. A few hours later, I parked across the street from her house. I didn't go in. I just watched. Claire came out on the porch, looking around, phone in hand, eyes wild like a storm was brewing in her head. She wasn't crying now, she was raging. Frustrated. Alone. Then it happened. A silver Audi pulled up. Jake. She rushed to his car like some scene in a drama. Started talking fast, arms flailing. I couldn't hear, but I didn't need to. Because Jake didn't even get out. He sat in the driver's seat, shaking his head, holding his hands up defensively. Then he rolled the window up and drove off, fast. Claire stood there frozen for a moment. Then she smashed her phone on the ground. Beautiful. I wasn't watching for satisfaction. I was watching for confirmation. Jake was out. That fantasy she sold herself, starting over with him, living off what I built, it was dead. And now she was stuck in that big house with nothing but shame echoing off the walls. She tried calling me again. Voicemail. So she called my sister. My mother. Even my old boss. Told them I was unstable, said I'd vanished, and she was worried sick. Manipulation 101. Play the victim. Rewrite the story. Act like the hurt one. But I had prepared for this too. Every message. Every recording. Every financial move. Time-stamped and filed. When the divorce papers were delivered that Friday, she lost it, according to the neighbor, who messaged me, "Dude. She's screaming in the yard. Thought you should know." Perfect. I was calm. Peaceful even. I spent that weekend cleaning out my new rental apartment, small, quiet, paid in full for 6 months. I hung up a single photo, me and my dad fishing, 1997. The last time I remembered feeling real peace before life became bills, jobs, and trying to keep someone else happy. I made a promise to myself, no more fixing people who want to break me. Claire was a virus in disguise. Beautiful, intelligent, charismatic, but underneath, there was rot. She didn't want love. She wanted leverage. Power. Comfort. She wanted to win even if it meant destroying the very man who built the world around her. But now? Now she'd have to explain to everyone why the man who gave her everything disappeared overnight, and why the man she tried to replace him with wouldn't even look her in the eye. I didn't just take back control. I took back me. And the man I'm becoming now? He doesn't answer calls from ghosts. It took less than a week for Claire's perfect social image to implode. Turns out, the woman who always posted curated brunch photos and blessed life selfies couldn't quite spin a public betrayal. Not when half the neighborhood started whispering, not when mutual friends started asking questions, and definitely not when her affair partner, Jake, ghosted her like she had the plague. She tried damage control, of course. I heard from Julie, one of her old yoga friends, that Claire was out there claiming I had a midlife crisis. That I left her out of nowhere, refused therapy, and got weird about money. Classic projection. But then the truth started leaking. Because she underestimated how many people still respected me. Still liked me. Still knew I wasn't the type to just disappear for no reason. And when one of Jake's old flings posted a vague but juicy, crazy story about a married woman and her husband's best friend, on Facebook, the wolves came circling. That's when Claire started texting me again, this time with a new strategy. Guilt. Claire. I know I made mistakes. But do you really want everyone to hate me? Claire. This doesn't help you either, Ryan. You're just making things worse. Claire. We were partners once. I don't deserve this level of cruelty. Claire. Please don't ruin me. I didn't respond. I just smiled bitterly. Because if she really believed that, she wouldn't have laughed in a car about stealing my house like I was some brainless puppet. She wasn't sorry. She was cornered. Jake, meanwhile, sent a final message. Jake. She's unstable, man. I didn't know she was serious. I'm out. Good. Let him crawl back into whatever hole he came from. But the real turning point? When her employer found out. Claire worked in PR for a local marketing firm, image was everything. One leaked voicemail, she didn't know I'd saved it, one anonymous email to HR, and boom, an ethics review. The same woman who coached brands on honesty and trust was now under investigation for moral conduct. Her job didn't fire her, but they demoted her. Quietly. She stopped posting on social media after that. Her new life wasn't some Miami Beach fantasy with Jake anymore, it was boxed wine, frozen dinners, and loneliness echoing through a too large house she couldn't afford. And me? I was finally breathing again. I joined a boxing gym. I started sleeping 8 hours straight. I took myself out to dinner, no distractions, no small talk, just a man reclaiming his time and sanity. And everywhere I went, I saw signs of the life I almost stayed trapped in. Couples bickering over appetizers. Women glued to their phones, laughing behind their partner's back. Men ignoring red flags, smiling like everything was fine. It made me angry. Not at them, at who I used to be. At the man who would have blamed himself for Claire's betrayal. Who would have begged her to stay, asked where he went wrong, offered to change. That man died the second I heard her voice through the Bluetooth speaker. And I didn't mourn him. Because now, I was becoming someone else. Someone sharper. Stronger. A man who didn't need permission to take back his power. Claire lost a husband. Jake lost a friend. I didn't lose anything. I shed it. The real satisfaction didn't come from watching Claire fall apart. It came from knowing I didn't even have to lift a finger to make it happen. She self-destructed. I just stepped out of the blast radius in time. The next month was oddly peaceful. No more fake smiles. No more silent dinners. No more pretending I didn't notice the scent of unfamiliar cologne on her scarf or those long showers she took after working late. I could finally breathe without second-guessing myself. But Claire? She spiraled. I heard through a mutual friend that she was trying to sell the house, my house. The one I'd made sure was legally locked from any sale without my signature. She had apparently called 3 different agents before one finally told her, "You're not the legal owner anymore." She flipped out. Screamed over the phone. Cursed me by name. Perfect. My lawyer made sure all her attempts to touch my assets ended up like her love life, denied and exposed. Meanwhile, Jake tried to disappear. Deleted his socials. Transferred offices at his firm. I guess being the other guy wasn't such a smooth move after all. Turns out, no one wants to trust a man who'll stab his best friend for some stolen affection. But I wasn't celebrating. Not in the petty way. I was evolving. There's a moment after betrayal where you can either fall apart or you can forge something better from the wreckage. I chose the second path. I started writing again. Something I hadn't done since college. Short stories. Letters to myself. Pages of raw honesty. Anger, hurt, clarity. Things I never said aloud. I went to therapy, not because I needed to fix myself, but because I wanted to understand why I let Claire's lies linger so long. Why I ignored the red flags. Why I thought loyalty meant enduring humiliation. I learned something powerful in those sessions. Trust without boundaries isn't love, it's self-sacrifice. Claire never respected me because I let her mold me into whatever version of a husband fit her story. I stopped being a person. I became a role. A paycheck. A fallback. But not anymore. Now, I had boundaries. And silence was my sharpest weapon. When she texted again, this time at 1 a.m., it wasn't to beg. It was to accuse. Claire. You think you're better than me now? You're not. You're just bitter and alone. I didn't respond. Because I wasn't alone. I had myself. And I was more than enough. She wanted a reaction. Rage. A last fight. Some proof that she still had power over me. But indifference? That was the nail in her coffin. I changed my number the next morning. Deleted the old photos. Burned the box of anniversary cards she used to write before she stopped meaning a word of it. And then I did something wild. I forgave her. Not because she deserved it. But because I refused to carry her mistakes on my back for the rest of my life. Forgiveness wasn't for her. It was the final step in reclaiming myself. Claire would spend years trying to rewrite the story. Paint herself as misunderstood. Say I walked out for no reason. Let her. The people who matter already knew the truth. And the man she betrayed? He didn't just survive. He evolved. Stronger. Smarter. Colder, maybe, but never again blind. They say time heals everything. That's a lie. Time doesn't heal betrayal. It just teaches you how to walk without limping. It's been 6 months since I walked out of that house. 6 months since I heard Claire's voice through that damn Bluetooth speaker. And not a single day has passed where I didn't think about it, not with pain, not anymore. Just clarity. The kind of clarity you get after crawling through fire and realizing the burn made you bulletproof. Claire still sends emails sometimes. Little things. One-liners. Claire. Hope you're well. Claire. Do you ever think about us? Claire. I made a mistake. I never reply. What's the point? Closure doesn't come from the people who broke you. It comes from choosing to never let them break you again. I heard she sold her car, downgraded her lifestyle. Moved in with her sister 2 towns over. The house stayed in my name, and once the divorce finalized, I sold it, fast. Flushed the bad memories out with the keys. Used the money to buy a modest condo, not far from the coast. Quiet. Clean. Mine. Jake? He moved jobs again. Word got around about what he did. People may forget a lot, but no one forgets betrayal. His reputation is ashes. I didn't have to scream. Didn't have to post anything. I just stepped aside and let their actions do the talking. You see, people who betray you never expect you to be calm. They prepare for tears, screaming, confrontation. What they don't expect is silence. Detachment. Disappearance. That's what terrifies them most. I built a new rhythm. Woke up early. Hit the gym. Made actual breakfasts again. I started mentoring a few guys at the gym, quiet ones who walked in with that same haunted look I once had. I didn't preach. I didn't give advice. I just told them my story. Because that's what this has always been about, not revenge, not justice. Just truth. A story. And stories, if they're told right, can save someone else from making the same mistakes. So here's what I'd tell anyone who finds themselves where I was. Don't ignore the signs. If her phone is always face down, there's a reason. If she suddenly needs space, it's not just about her. If her laughter is louder when she's texting someone else, watch her eyes. Don't play detective for too long. Once your gut knows, your heart will follow. And when the betrayal comes, don't waste time begging. You're not asking someone to love you again. You're begging a liar to stop lying. They won't. You can't fix a woman who sees your loyalty as a weakness. So walk. Quietly. Strategically. Without anger. Without a single dropped tear. That silence will echo louder than any revenge you could plot. Because the greatest revenge isn't destroying them. It's watching them destroy themselves, without you there to catch them. Claire laughed while planning to take my life apart. Now she cries in silence, remembering the man who never looked back. Me? I'm building something new. Something real. And I'll never trade peace for chaos again.